In our next example, we are going to, actually, I'm going to erase this word metric. We are going to switch to the U.S. system of measurement, or called the Imperial System. And when we use this system, you have to know the conversion. So we do recommend that you look up a conversion chart. There should be one posted in your course shell. Look in the content area. And for example, I'm going to start by converting 7 feet to centimeters. And as I mentioned earlier, feet is not a part of the metric system. So in order for us to go from feet to centimeters, not only are we going to have to perform 2 conversions, but I'm going to have to know something about feet in different units in order for me to make this jump all the way to a unit in the metric system. So I'm going to start by sharing a few simple conversions that hopefully you will have seen before. So in 1 foot, there are 12 inches. And in 1 inch, there are 2.54 centimeters. And again, these are things that either you can look up or use the resources that we have for you in the course shell. And I'm going to write that a little bit better so you know that that is a 1. Okay, so as in my prior example, we are going to start with the problem that we're given, 7 feet. I'm going to use my first conversion, 1 foot equals 12 inches, and I'm going to put the 12 inches in my numerator and the foot in my denominator so that the feet attached to the 7 can reduce with the feet in the denominator. So now after I do the math, I know that whatever this turns out to be, it is in terms of inches. But I'm still not at my desired centimeters. So that's the reason why we have to have a second conversion. So it is possible to require multiple unit conversions in order to get to that desired final unit of whatever the question is, okay? So the next one I'm going to use is the 1 inches equals 2.54 centimeters. So the 2.54 centimeters would go in the numerator, and the 1 inch would go in our denominator. And again, the inches will reduce. So I have everything left in my desired final unit, centimeters. And now we just need to do the math. We know 7 is technically over 1. And to multiply fractions, it is numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So we have 7 times 12 times 2.54. And after multiplying, you will find that that is 213.36 centimeters. So it is possible to even mix 2 different systems, but make sure if you're whichever one you're going to, you need a chart or some resource to know what the U.S. system unit conversions are, as I have shown you in this example. Here is another example, and I wanted to show you one here where, and I'll show you as we get into the problem. So we're going to start with 5 feet squared, and I want my final answer to be in inches squared. So I wanted to show you one where you might get a different power than just a power of 1. So when you see this feet squared, that means a foot squared came from having a foot times a foot, and this is what we would call like bases, and technically their powers are 1. And when you multiply like bases, you will add their exponents. So a foot times a foot is how we would get a foot squared. And you would typically see squared feet when you are doing applications involving area. So what that means for us mathematically is that means that we're going to perform our conversion 2 times. So we'll have 2 multiplications of a unit conversion. So if we start with 5 feet squared, I know again that there are 12 inches in a foot. But this foot would only be able to be simplified. So a foot squared divided by 1 foot still leaves a foot. And let me show you what I mean by that. So if I have a foot squared divided by a foot, I still have a foot left. Because when I divide like bases, I subtract their powers. So 2 minus 1 would still leave a foot technically to that first power. So that's where the second conversion comes into play. Because now a foot times a foot is foot squared, so this would completely reduce with the foot squared here. So 5 times 12 times 12 would give us a total of 720, and inches times inches would give us inches squared. So the power in this final unit conversion gave me a clue that I would need to use the conversion 2 times. So if this were a power of 3 and a power of 3, then we would use that conversion 3 times. So again, I just wanted to make sure that you had an example, even looking at unit conversions that might have a power different than 1.